Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona, and I'm going to be taking an in-depth look at my TimeformUS Highlight Horse on Friday. It's the 8th race on Friday at Aqueduct, and it's drawn a field of 7 betting interests with 1 entry involved. And before we get into the nitty-gritty details of this race, I just want to mention again, in March, we're doing a promotion where you can make a risk-free bet on my highlight horse on DRF bets. Just bet $7 to win through DRF bets, and if the horse loses, you'll get $7 back. If he wins, you'll obviously cash a winning bet. We were successful with this last week. My highlight horse was Shimmering Moon, and I believe if you made a $7 win bet on her, she paid over $30. So it's worth checking this out, and you just have to make the bet through the new DRF bets site at bets.drf.com, the DRF iPhone app, or the new DRF Classic PP wager pad, any of those places, and the promotion will apply. So taking a look at the entire field for this 8th race on Friday, it's drawn a relatively interesting field of New York breds. The condition is non-winners of 2 with an optional claiming tag of $40,000. And the likely favorite is the number 2, Vincento, who's making his first start off the claim for Linda Rice. And we can go right into his PPs, and you can see why this horse is going to be the favorite in this race. He's just run relatively well against some tougher competition. 2 of his last 3 starts have come against the more difficult open non-winners of an allowance level, and he actually ran pretty well at that tougher level 2 back when he finished behind Stoney Bennett and Mr. Dougie Fresh. That second place finisher actually came back to win very impressively in his next start. And for Vincento to only lose by 2 1/4 lengths to a field of that quality, I think really speaks to the fact that he's going to be formidable on this class drop. The problem with Vincento is I wasn't that thrilled with his last race when he dropped down to today's level on January 26th. He was kind of wide in the stretch on a day when you probably wanted to be closer to the rail, but he did save ground on the turn. And I just thought that was not really a performance that would make him all that formidable coming back in this spot if he were to repeat it. The thing that Vincento has going for him is obviously the fact that he's claimed out of that last race by Linda Rice, who has very good numbers first off the claim, specifically in dirt routes at Aqueduct, but really across the board. Linda Rice has just been doing a very good job at this Aqueduct meet, and you see up in the right-hand corner in her summary of her trainer stats, that hot cold, those 3 hot in red indications that she's just been winning with all of her starters at Aqueduct recently, just having a really strong meet. So you want to respect anything that she's sending out. And I do think Vincento is way the horse to beat, but I'm a little concerned about the fact that he doesn't have a ton of speed and that he's going to have to improve off the claim for Linda Rice. A horse that actually finished ahead of Vincento last time is the number 5, Bluegrass Cat Smile, and I think he's a horse that you have to consider a viable rival to Vincento in this race because he just always shows up. He's super consistent, and he's earned a series of TimeformUS speed figures that make him as good as Vincento, if not more likely to win this race. That 114 number that he earned 3 back is probably better than anything else anybody in this field has earned. So he's a horse that I think you really have to respect based on his talent. The problem with Bluegrass Cat Smile is he's been in spots where he can win, and he's finished second in 3 straight races, and I'm starting to worry that this horse has developed a bit of a character flaw now that he's 6 years old. You see up in the top of the screen, he's made 39 starts. Well, he's won 7 races. He's finished second or third 20 times, so 13 more times than he's actually won, and he just seems to always get there in his races and doesn't really seal the deal. I expect him to run well in this race, and if I'm playing exotic wagers like exactas and trifectas, he's a horse that I think you have to use. I'm just somewhat concerned that he's going to be able to get into the winner's circle, and also his closing running style, kind of like Vincento, may not really suit the flow of this race. Speaking of the potential pace, we'll take a look at the pace projector, and you see right away that blue bar towards the top of the screen that favors horses on or near the lead, and the number 3 horse is Carthon, who is likely to lead the field early, and there's just not a whole lot of speed that's going to be in behind him in this race. The number 1A, Play That Funny Music, there are 2 horses as part of that entry. One has more speed, one is more of a closer, so maybe Kendrick Carmouche, who's riding Play That Funny Music, tries to go after Carthon in the early going. I'm just concerned that Play That Funny Music might not be fast enough to really keep Carthon honest on the front end, because Carthon is much faster than these horses in the early going. The other horses that are likely to be chasing, they're all really closing types, so I'm not convinced that Carthon is going to take a real serious challenge on the front end. Looking at Carthon's PPs, there are a lot of things to like about him. If he runs back his race 3 back where he won on December 20th, it was a weaker level and the field wasn't quite up to this quality, but I thought he earned a respectable speed figure after chasing a fast pace. You see those red color-coded pace figures indicating that they were going pretty quickly up front, and Carthon took that race over and finished very strongly, going today's 1-turn mile distance. Next time out, I'm not going to hold that race against him too much because he was chasing a horse, Hall Anchor, who was just a little bit better than him, and I thought it was a difficult position for him to be in. He was passed by Bluegrass Cat Smile and Vincento in the late stages, but Carthon is a horse that I think can do a little bit better when he's able to be in a controlling position, and last time we saw him take a step forward when he was able to do that. That was going a 2-turn mile and an eighth, and maybe that's a little bit far for Carthon, but I thought he ran very well that day because once again, you see that red color-coded half-mile marker, and he was in a contested position where there was another long shot chasing him. That horse that was chasing him ended up finishing last in the race, and Blew It and Bluegrass Cat Smile, who passed him in the lane, were both coming from towards the back of the pack. So I think Carthon ran very well within the context of that race. Eric Consell rides him well. He's typically aggressive with this horse, and I love the cutback to a 1-turn mile. I just think there are a lot of things to like about Carthon in this race, and a lot of reasons why he's going to run better than he has in his recent races. So if I can get anything close to the 3-to-1 morning line on Carthon, I think that is definitely a fair price on him. He's my highlight horse on Friday at Aqueduct. Hopefully we can make a score with this one. See you next week for another edition of the Friday Highlight Horse.